on the ground with people. You've got to keep it there. You've got to keep your feet on the gas in that regard. That's how you go out and you get a Joe Walsh elected in 2010, right? But when you don't reinforce that effort, Joe Walsh is not there in 2014.
Well, wasn't that Rahm Emanuel's fault? Because we didn't need to put money in the party?
But also,
he was the chief of staff. And
let's take this out of the theoretical realm. Let's look at what's happening. Trump is driving the economy off a cliff. People are going to be upset. There's going to be a popular reaction to that. If the Democrats don't try to exploit that, take advantage of that, I mean that in the good way, across the board, it would be political malpractice, right? So this is, they should always be trying this, but I think this is a very good moment for this strategy.
I'm not criticizing that. I think that's
fine. But also city, county races.
You lost a lot of ground.
Yeah, and that is my only point here. We lost ground because there were people that did not care about party infrastructure and investment.
Right.
And to Joe's point earlier that he said, he was like, oh, some of the DNC stuff, it's inside baseball, but it's the inside baseball that creates an outside game, frankly. Yeah. And so I'm just, Joe, I guess we'll give you the last word on this. Thoughts about the investment, and Jane Klebb, she pushed with the other party chairs saying, y'all, they've done a lot, we need more. And they got more.
Look, just one quick final thought. Because of the madness and the chaos and the disaster that is Trump, Democrats are going to be competitive in districts and states this year, next year, that we can't even imagine right now. So doggone it, field candidates, get active, spend money everywhere.
Spend it everywhere. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about what's happening inside the party. Up next, well, first, David Corn and Joe are leaving us. Thanks. Up next, Trump's latest pay-to-play. I mean, the man, we're going to talk.
Yeah, it's not good, Kate Baldwin. It's not good. I mean, the trend line here is pretty gosh darn clear. Trump's net approval rating on foreign policy. You go back to January, the start of Trump's term, he was above water, plus 2 points. Down he goes, down into the body of water, underwater, minus 13 points at this particular point. That is a drop of 15 points on the net approval rating since January. During Trump's first 100 days, if this is an audition, he is failing that audition in the minds of the American public. Way underwater at minus 13 points.
Talk to me about this in like other presidents in the first 100 days. How is this looking?
Let's put it in a historical context. Okay, foreign policy net approval at this point of presidency. The average president plus 17. Trump in his first term, he was at minus 12, not particularly good.
And this is a good important reference. This isn't, this isn't like a back-to-back terms. This is non-consecutive terms or first terms, which I think is obviously very important.
Correct. Minus 12 points there. That was the all-time record for a presidency, the 45th presidency of Donald Trump. You go to 47. He has broken his own record. He is the worst on record at this particular point. He was already the worst. Now he's even more the worst right now. And get that, some quick math, minus 13 plus 17. He is 30 points below where the average president is on net approval when it comes to foreign policy. The American people think he's doing an awful, awful, awful job, and they have rewarded him with the record of being the worst. I don't know if a medal comes with that, but if it did, he would get it.
So this is broad foreign policy. What about what obviously today especially we're focused most on, which is Russia's war in Ukraine?
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, the recent Fox News poll asked about his net approval rating on these different countries, and we're on Russia. Dealings with Russia, minus 18 points. Dealings with Ukraine, minus 13 points. No doubt feelings towards Russia and Ukraine are impacting Trump's overall net approval rating on foreign policy, which at this point is the worst on record.
Harry Enten, thank you very much.
Thank you.
John?
All right, I expect we'll see more polls on the 100 days coming soon.
Rachel, thank you for the privilege of your time. Let's start with this. The Trump administration 2.0 started with the pardoning of the January 6th insurrectionists. It's been roiled with economic turmoil. And just a few days ago, we witnessed federal authorities arresting a Wisconsin judge and a retired New Mexico judge for allegedly interfering with the Trump administration's immigration enforcement efforts. I mean, Rachel, is it fair to say that we've crossed the Rubicon now?
Yeah, I feel like the Rubicon has a lot of tributaries, and we cross a new one every day. I mean, First of all, Katie, let me just say it's an honor to be here with you today. And I'm very, very, very sad that this is the last Katie Phang show in a million different ways. And I'm really going to miss working with you every day as a colleague. But I will not miss being your friend, because that will continue and we will be working together again in the future. I am absolutely sure. Let me just say, I mean, the 100 days, there's never been a president who has botched the first 100 days of his presidency more than Donald Trump has. And you don't have to take that as a subjective view. It's the view shown in scientific polling of the American public. The public is deeply, deeply, deeply against what Trump is doing. The Pew poll that came out this week, he's minus 19 points underwater in terms of his approval rating. If you ask the American people about what they feel about his handling of every single issue that you can poll on, he's underwater on every single one of them. And so he's been very radical in his first 100 days, and I think we knew that would be true, but I don't think we'd know that he would turn the American public, including a large portion of his own base, against him so quickly. The public would be willing again and again and again to go protest and say no and rise up against him, that he would fare so uniformly disastrously in court. He's just been clobbered in the court in dozens and dozens and dozens of cases already. So it's been a real, he's really flailed. It doesn't change his radicalism, but I think that's really the story of the first 100 days, is his failure and the American public saying no to him.
And you know, Rachel, I see the failure, and I read the polls too, and I have healthy skepticism when it comes to polls, but I do see them, right? And if there's consistency in those polls, then the common denominator probably is true. But I have to ask you, was there some profound failure of imagination on our part that we did not reasonably anticipate how effective Trump and his cabal of doers would be? And the reason why I say that is they destroy, they wreak havoc, and they cause so much damage. And then they're told that's illegal. They're told you can't do that. They're told that that is wrong. And we see that, right? But the damage has been done. And then you have people like U.S. citizens that are now being held in prisons. I mean, it's these types of things that really make me wonder, did we, again, have a failure of imagination?
You said, I actually look at it, I think, the other way around. I feel like the kind of pundit common wisdom heading into Trump's second term was that the comparison with the first term, or the difference with the first term, was going to be that he was going to be more efficient. He was going to be better at doing what he wanted to do, and that's what we should brace ourselves for. And I actually don't think that's the way it's worked out. I think that he is definitely more ambitious in terms of the kind of radical change he wants for the country. I do think we're in the middle of an attempted authoritarian overthrow of American democracy. I mean, I think everybody who predicted that was right, but I don't think he's any better at it. I mean, you just think about the litany of mistakes, things that they acknowledge even are mistakes. Remember, right out of the gate, they tried to cut off all federal grants for everything. And then within 48 hours, had to take that back and say they didn't mean that. Remember Trump's big thing about, like, I've turned on the water in California. And immediately the Army Corps of Engineers was like, yeah, you just wasted all of the water that we had saved in reservoirs for the summer season. You know, the failure, the accidentally firing the Ebola prevention workers, accidentally firing the nuclear weapons people, accidentally firing the bird flu people, all of this stuff that they have done and then undone. It does reflect their radicalism and their ability and willingness to just destroy. But they haven't done a lot of it on purpose. They've done a lot of it despite themselves. And their incompetence is not a blessing. A lot of people glibly say, like, oh, you should have enemies that are this incompetent. They'll fall down. You don't have to trip them. But their failure has been a wreckage, has created wreckage in the U.S. government. It just means that they're not that good at doing what they're actually trying to do.
And you've been incredibly thoughtful on your show in these first 100 days to highlight what it is for an everyday American to take ownership of their voice and do something with it, whether it's going to a rally, whether it's going to a town hall, whether it's calling Congress, state and federal, by the way, their representatives. What is it going to take for the next 100 days, if we're going to look at it in tranches, right? What's it going to take for the next 100 days and the following months? Because it is a 4-year term.
Yeah, it's a really good question, Katie. And, I think the other thing I was talking about, sort of what the pundit class got wrong heading into Trump's second term. I think there was, again, a kind of pundit common wisdom or kind of observer common wisdom that the American people weren't going to resist, weren't going to stand up, that there was no sign of the kind of mass resistance to what Trump is doing. Well, that's turning out not to be the case at all. It's just different this time. There wasn't one big rally the way there was in 2017, right around Trump's inauguration. What we've got is every single day, literally every single day, dozens of protests all over the country, including in small towns and in red states, against stuff that Trump is doing. I mean, I've been covering protests in places like Boise, Idaho, and Morgantown, West Virginia, and Little Rock, Arkansas, every single day on my show. We have had more than 100,000 people turn out simultaneously in multiple cities on a couple of different occasions. And the protest movement that has been turning people out for these huge days of protest, like on April 5th and on April 19th, we're going to see another one this week on May 1st. Those protest movements are designed not just to turn out a bunch of people and in surprising places, but to turn them out again and again and again and again. And millions of Americans have now protested against this president in a way that is not a one-off deal, in a way that they have shown that they're willing to come out again and again. And so I think that's going to be the lesson of the 100 days, is people turning out. You're already seeing Republicans telling their constituents at town halls or anytime they're speaking, no, I'm not going to go ahead with those Medicaid cuts. No, I don't agree with a lot of what Doge and Musk have done.
Republican civil war is starting, and I want to make it clear that while you might find one or two principled Republicans, I can't literally say that every single last Republican politician is an utter and complete scumbag. I can't say literally everyone. Most of them are only turning on Trump for two big reasons. One we've been talking about a lot, which is that Trump's plans are hurting them. They're hurting rich people. Now, I don't think that was intentional from Trump, because his whole point, his whole system is designed around making the rich even richer. Some corporate Democrats love that. But Trump is taking that and cranking it to 11, and Republicans love that even more than the right-wing Democrats. He failed, though. And now, because of his tariffs, the billionaires are losing money too, and the multimillionaires are losing money too. But where this gets really bad for Trump is that fundamentally, guys, the Republicans are going to lose seats. They're going to lose seats over this in the House, the Senate, everywhere. They are furious at Trump because now in 2026, which was already going to be a tough year, because it's always a tough year usually for the governing party in the midterms, it's going to be way worse because Trump has pissed people off in red districts, in purple districts, and in red states and in purple states. And now the Republicans, they're going to lose, as it noted there, they're going to lose seats that will blow your mind. And those congressmen, if only out of self-preservation, are furious at Trump. They don't want to do the right thing because working class people are suffering. They want to do the right thing because it's the only way to save their bacon.